Hi, and welcome to episode 89 of the Gridirons of Europe podcast. My name is Andre, and with me today is my co-host, Antoine. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Going pretty well.
Yeah, back at it again for another episode.
Yeah, and today we've got a bit of a quick-fire preview pod. We don't have too much action to discuss this weekend, but it is a big weekend for football in Europe, but it's a very small weekend for football in Sweden, if that makes any sense for the people listening.
Yeah. So we got I think there's only one Swedish game to talk about, and for like the Swedish division of football, and then we have the kickoff for the Scandinavian Cup, and then kickoff for the CEFL league. So we'll go ahead and get into all those games. We did a coin toss before the show kicked off to decide what games are going to be covering. So I won the coin toss, so I'll be drafting my game first that I get to cover this weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, let's go ahead and get into it. Where do you want to start?
Should we just start with the draft? We've got 2 picks each. You get to go first.
Yeah. Okay.
Go from there. What's your first pick, man?
I think my first pick is going to be for the only game that's kicking off in Swedish Division of Football this week. It's the AIK. I was about to say the AIK, but they don't have a mascot or anything. But AIK versus Karlskoga Wolves. I think I like to cover that game.
Yeah, I mean, that trips me up too, AIK. I was making a repost on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, the 1-0 Wolves are taking on the... Oh, wait. It's just AIK.
Yeah, so I think that game is going to be pretty fun to watch. Yeah, man, I'm curious to see how the Wolves will look this week, see if they can add on to a win, and I'm curious to see if AIK actually bounces back after taking that loss at home against Limham. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great pick for you. Your old team, and it's Division 1, a league we all love covering, and as you say, it's going to be very interesting. Karlskoga coming off of a close win in Gothenburg, and AIK, a disappointing loss to open the season. So we'll see if AIK can bounce back, and we'll see if Karlskoga can go on the road and get another win.
Yeah. You have any predictions for this game?
I'll go AIK by 2 scores.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I think AIK is gonna win by a close one. I don't think it's gonna be 2 scores. And that's just based off of how their offense looked this past week. I do think they'll get a win this weekend, but I think it's gonna be like another close game. I think they win by. I think they win by like 2 points.
Yeah, so I think Limham, they have a strong secondary, and I think that's part of why AIK struggled against them. And yeah. I'm not sure. I think Karlskoga, I think they have a few good DBs, but I think there are spots that AIK can take advantage of, and I think Ludde can really get that passing game going this weekend.
I think this is where I'm going to disagree. I think the passing game is going to struggle a little bit this week. I think it's going to be like a low-scoring game, like probably like 6-8, something crazy like that. But the passing game, they have to look out for Ruben Quintana from Spain. He's quick on the outside, and he's strong, and he can get to the quarterback. So
yeah, he's the edge rusher they have, right?
Yeah. He looked really good in the game this weekend.
He did look really good last weekend, but we also have to remember that the O-line the Gothenburg has is very inexperienced. Almost everyone is new on that line, so I mean, it'll be a bit more of a challenge, I think, against AIK, but it'll be interesting to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, I think it'll be a fun game to watch. I do believe it's going to be a low-scoring game, but we'll see. We'll see.
And for everyone's information, that's the only game in Division 1 this week. So
yeah, so
big spotlight on it, and the only game that can affect our power rankings next week.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about that, but yeah. So you'll have you'll have somebody mad and somebody very happy to move up the power rankings. But yeah, man, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. Shall we move to the second pick in the preview draft?
Yeah. So who you picking? What game are you watching?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty obvious choice here. I'm gonna go with the opener in the CEFL Championship, the game between the Stockholm Mean Machines and the Finnish champion Kuopio Steelers. I don't know all that much about the Kuopio team. I know that they've been champions for several years in a row now in Finland, and I know that they're a really good team. And I'm pretty sure there weren't any Finnish teams in this competition last year. So
no, there wasn't.
So Kuopio is kind of making their debut here and going to Stockholm. That's going to be a tough test for them, but I think it's going to be a hell of a battle. And it'll be really interesting after Stockholm's opener to see what Mark Papas and Retzlaff out there can do against a very strong Kuopio secondary.
Yeah, we'll see. Actually, give a shout out to the American Football Finland podcast. They did a story on Rexhoff after last week's game. They're like, if you need a first down, get number 8 the ball. Down, get number 8 the ball. If you need a big play, get number 8 the ball. So they're taking notice to him, and they're absolutely right. I think he had like 200 yards last weekend receiving. So
yeah. Big play. Yeah, and I agree with you. Big shout out to Perfect Purvis and that whole gang who runs American football in Finland. They do a tremendous job. I think part of the reason we haven't touched Finland all that much on this podcast is because they have a great product that they run over there, and they know their shit. So we shouldn't get involved in something that has their own English-speaking coverage and that we don't know as much about. So shout out to those guys.
For sure. But yeah, man, I think this is gonna be I think there's gonna be a large audience at the game watching, and wherever they're streaming the game, I'm pretty sure they're gonna.
It's actually on Sweet 3 Play, so for the listeners from Sweden, you can watch the Stockholm game on Sweet 3 Play. I went in and saw that it was amongst the upcoming games, so that's good.
Hey, cool. Good. That's exciting. So yeah, I was like, oh man, now I gotta try to figure out how to watch the game, but I watched the game now. So there you go.
Now that we're talking about the CEFL games, we've got 3 other games in that league coming up as well. There's the Calanda Broncos against the Tonon Black Panthers, the very good teams from Switzerland and France. You've got 2 Spanish teams facing off. The Osos Rivas, the reigning champs, are going up against the Black Demons. And then we've got a Serbian team against a Hungarian team, the Vukovi Belgrade against the Budapest Wolves. So those are some good matchups. And in the next round, waiting for these teams, you have the Flash from France, La Courneuve. You've got the Italian champions, Firenze, and you've got the Parma Panthers, who I think lost in the semi-final in Italy last year, but they played in the final. They were the silver medalists in the CEFL championship last year. But most of all, the winner of Stockholm v Kuopio gets to go on the road and face GFL champion Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns. So this is some fun stuff, and let's see how it turns out. It's going to be interesting.
Definitely going to be interesting. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was gonna watch all the games this weekend. Well, not all of the CEFL games, but definitely the Mean Machines versus the Kuopio Steelers. I do think that's going to be an interesting game. I do see. I haven't seen the Steelers play too much, but I've seen Stockholm play, and I do see them edging out a victory.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of along the same path, but I'm very careful to say that I'm confident in anything in this game because I know Kuopio is a good team.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they are. I know Stockholm's a really good team. not sure how they compare to the Finnish team. So this is such fascinating stuff. But if I had to make a prediction, I'd go Stockholm by a touchdown. But I think this is anyone's game, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
This very much feels like a European Championship game, like Sweden versus Finland.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is the Nordic Club Championship, so to speak, because we saw last year that the Danish and Norwegian teams couldn't quite keep up with the Swedish team. So we know that. Now we bring in the best Finnish team to face the best Swedish team. So it kind of sounds like a Nordic final, so to speak.
Yeah. Yep. But now we'll switch down to my second game that I'm going to choose, and that's obviously going to be the kickoff of the Scandinavian Cup. You have Oslo. What's their name?
The Oslo Vikings.
Yeah, the Oslo Vikings versus the Örebro Black Knights. So I'll definitely be tuning into that game. Just out of curiosity, because my team, the Crusaders, were playing in the Scandinavian Cup as well. So I want to watch that game to get some insight to how both teams are looking. And just see what we're up against. But could be interesting.
I'm gonna say that I'm not too interested or invested in the Scandinavian Cup this year. I thought it was a bit of a letdown last year, but mostly because you got the extra matchups between Tyresö and Stockholm, and it just wasn't very fun because it felt repetitive, redundant. And this year there are fewer teams involved. You don't have any Danish teams.
I think there's only.
It feels like a watered down product in only its second year, and it feels like this is a kind of a dying competition already, which is a bit sad.
Yeah, it is, it does feel that way. But it's kind of like you said previously, or just a few moments ago, where you're like the Danish and the Norwegian teams couldn't quite keep up with the teams in Sweden. So I mean that's kind of like that will kind of make teams iffy and worry about joining the competition. So yeah, man. I mean, if they want this to grow and they want this competition to look bigger, maybe they can look into. And I don't know why any Finnish teams don't participate in this as well. I think that will help boost it up if you have like the Roosters, Steelers. Well, the Steelers, but they're in the CEFL, so
you'd have to rename the competition. You'll hear every Finn say, "No, we're not part of Scandinavia."
Yeah. Yeah, true. But I think it can help, especially when you don't have any Danish teams participating. So kind of steers the competition in one direction. So you're gonna have those same matchups that you're getting in your league play in Sweden and Norway, kind of making it to the finals. But I do think Oslo is a good team, huh? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, I'm not too invested in the Norwegian league and teams, but I do think that the Oslo Vikings have been a top team in that league for a few years. I think they got upset in the championship game last year, though. But they've been champions quite a few times, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they stack up this year. If I remember correctly, I'm not sure if there were any Norwegian teams that beat a Swedish team last year. I don't think any of them did.
There was it Tyresö who played that really close game last year?
Yeah, that might be the case.
And it went down to the wire.
Yeah, there were a few really close games in the competition last year, but I don't think the Norwegian teams got any wins against Swedish teams. So
no,
I think the Vikings have something to prove here, and Örebro going on the road to Oslo. I mean, Örebro's coming off a tough loss, a bit beat up after playing Stockholm.
Yeah.
But then again, I think this is Oslo's first game, so maybe they're a bit rusty. I mean, there are these factors that might play in.
Yeah. But my prediction, I see Örebro kind of getting a bounce back victory this week. over the Vikings, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, you never do know. And hey, screw it. I'm not going to be Sweden biased. I'll go Oslo Vikings by 2 points.
Okay.
Norway gets their first win.
All right. So now, what's your second game? You pretty much only have the CEFL games to choose from.
I mean, I could travel to France. I could travel to Austria here. We could go into one of the other CFL games. Maybe I'll go pick a U17 game.
Interesting.
There's still a lot of options. But let's see here. I think I had the site up here. I might actually go to Austria for this week. Yes, I actually will do that. I'm going to cover the Graz Giants, who are sitting at 2-0 in the early portion of the Austrian season, taking on the Vienna Vikings, who, despite their ELF franchise, is once again sitting at 2-0 in the Austrian league. So we got two 2-0 teams in Austria facing off, one of them being the sort of second-tier team to the ELF champions, but they're still a legit team, and I haven't checked out any Austrian action so far this season. They're 2 games into their season, so some Week 3 Austrian action will include at the end of this week.
Nice. Yeah, I don't really follow the Austrian league too much. Obviously, with the Vienna Vikings playing in the EFL, you kind of get glances at them. But yeah, interesting that their team in their home country league play is still sitting at 2-0. So they're putting out good products on both ends. So that's really good.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because I think this is kind of the model that the Stockholm Mean Machines are looking at. I think they want to try to do the same thing where they stay as one of the top teams in Sweden despite having that ELF franchise. I think that's where they want to be, and modeling themselves after what the Vienna Vikings are doing, that might be the way to go here.
I mean, and it's like we said on many episodes of this show, with Stockholm looking to move to the ELF here shortly, I do see a lot of players in Sweden kind of trying to make the move to that team, whether it be to play on the EFL team or to play on the Stockholm Super Series team. So I do see them kind of getting a surge of Swedish players kind of trying to make that move to their team, which will be interesting for football in Sweden as far as the Super Series goes. So we'll see. Yeah,
and I did have something I was going to say, but I think I forgot about it.
Yep. So
yeah, the Super Series. Yeah. I mean, Stockholm already has kind of done some of what you said. They already have a huge roster, a huge player base. So if they can keep everyone around and then maybe add a few more top players from Sweden, then yeah, I can see them being competitive in both leagues.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what we got left? What we got left to talk about? Nothing.
I mean, do you have any other action you want to highlight this week?
Action? No, I'm pretty much. I'm not even gonna lie to the people out here. I pretty much only follow football in Sweden, or if a game seems interesting here or there, I might check it out. But yeah, man, I'm pretty much stay home base. Keep it Swedish over here.
Antoine, the most Swedish person on the podcast.
You know, it's growing on me. Sweden is growing on me.
Hey, I think Sweden loves you for it, Antoine.
Oh well, I appreciate Sweden. Hey, man, you know, trying to making a move here, being integrated into the football culture here has been fun. It's been a fun process for me. It's definitely it's a smallish community, but it's big enough to make you feel relevant when you're walking around, and people are like, oh hey, you play for such and such, or you do this podcast. So definitely makes you feel welcome. So it's good.
Yeah, it's a very very nice community I think we have here, and everyone these days I think are really kind, and like even rival teams that were bitterly hated each other in the past, you've got a bunch of players who are just friends. Like it happens, and we've got a great community, and I think a lot of people get along, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is definitely a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun.
But like last weekend, I was reffing a U17 game. I was reffing Ystad's U17 game, and like I had just put a pretty big hit on their quarterback Cameron Villardo on Friday night, and then I come to ref their game, and I'm shaking his hand, talking shit with him, and enjoying our time. Like it's kind of that community we have in Sweden, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. You become friends or frenemies, enemies while you're playing, but you're friends off the field, which is good. Yeah, I mean, if you when you're playing these games, it's one thing to be a competitor and to have your aggression and to go hard for your team, but to make sure you guys are creating this brother and sisterhood while playing. Make sure you guys make your friends out there on the field. Good sportsmanship, obviously, nothing dirty. We're all just out here trying to have fun and trying to play a sport that we genuinely love to play. So yeah, man, it's fun to get to know people off the field. So don't be shy. Introduce yourselves. You spend all day trying to hit each other and kill each other on the field anyway. You might as well, introduce each other at the end of the game. So yeah, man.
Yeah. Why the hell not?
Why the hell not? But yeah, looking forward. Next week, we're kind of taking a big step in our podcast as a whole when we're going to start covering the Women's Football League. Honestly, we're when we did our power ranking, it kind of showed our knowledge of
giant gaps in our knowledge. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, we're going to be reaching out to a lot more females, trying to get the female players on the podcast. So we're getting a chance to hear their stories and just help us kind of in this transition into covering the Women's Football League, because we genuinely we care about the Women's League, and then we also care to get to know their stories. So to help us kind of transition into this space. If we reach out to you guys or women, if we reach out to you girls, it's because we genuinely want to hear your story and we want you on the show, and we're curious about your sport. So hit us back and get on an episode.
Yeah, absolutely, and we love hearing from players, as we mentioned in last episode as well, and that applies to the ladies playing as well. And we need to get to know more of you guys, to get to know the league more, the teams more, and everything Antoine said applies.
Yeah. What we got out? Anything else?
Yeah, I was thinking, do we have any final thoughts here? You make sure you check out this weekend's games. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Most of them are being played on Saturday, I believe.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to what we talked about last week with Sweet 3 Play. It gives you the opportunity to transition back and forth to games. If you can't make it to every game, or if you can't make it to any games, and you want to still catch the games, you can support the teams that way and you can support the Swedish Football Federation that way as well by signing up and then getting access to these games.
Yeah, the Oslo Blue game is kicking off at 2 p.m. on Saturday. That's Central European summertime we're speaking of here. Let's see, can we get to the other one? The Stockholm game, the CEFL game against Kuopio kicks off at noon on Saturday. There's actually some Division 2 action kicking off as well, so please support those guys as well. There are a few of those games are streaming on Sweet 3 Play on Sunday, so tune into that and support those guys playing their hearts out in Division 2.
Sure.
And let's see here, what else? Well, the Austrian game that I'm covering is on Sunday, so I have time.
Okay, cool.
I have time to sit down and watch that. I hope the Graz Giants are streaming it so I can actually watch it now.
Yeah. But yeah, good quick episode. Like we always say, you guys know what to do. If you're listening to our podcast on any of your favorite podcast streaming apps, make sure you leave us a review. Give us some 5 stars. I think our ratings are at 4.9 stars.
I think we're at 4.6 on Spotify, so a few more 5-star reviews to bump it up to 4.7, 4.8. That would be cool.
Yeah. We're approaching massive milestones as a podcast.
We approached one that we didn't even notice until afterwards. We've hit over 10,000 plays on our episodes as a podcast, so that's a lot of fun. Thanks to everyone who listens. We love you for it. We appreciate the support, and we're coming up on our 100th episode in not too long. This is 89. We've got 10 more to go before we hit 100, so we're getting close. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to do for that episode 100.
We got to plan something fun.
or it's just a standard recap or a preview episode. Who knows?
Who knows?
But hopefully we can do something fun with it.
Yeah.
And we appreciate everyone listening. Go follow all of our social medias, including our YouTube, Gridirons of Europe, and our Instagram, at Gridirons of Europe. And also our Twitter account, we're at Gridirons Europe.
Yeah. All right, man.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Later.